Good afternoon, and thank everybody for joining us for our August 2020 NAACP Pueblo membership meeting. And I will have a prayer by Mr. Jones. Did you say he was on? Okay, we'll start with a prayer.
Oh, yeah, okay. Fine. Once again, Almighty God, we give you thanks for this day. We give you thanks for the blessings. Now, as we have this meeting, we ask for your guidance and your favor, and ask for that spirit which would give us understanding, good listening, and that we might be able to use for continuing that which was necessary. We ask for your blessings, and we ask that you would be with us, guide us in this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. And we'll, excuse me, we'll follow the agenda as seen on the screen. Do we have minutes of our previous meeting by the secretary?
Yeah, I sent them. I don't know where they went from there. I would imagine that they're on that.
They're here.
Oh,
Okay.
there we go.
Yeah. Margaret, is Margaret on the line? Did she get to read the minutes? Can you briefly go over the minutes? If not, just look over them, and then we'll approve them as once everyone has read over them. I think these minutes were sent to everyone's email, so hopefully everyone's already seen them.
Madam President, I move that the minutes stand approved as read with any necessary corrections and placed on audit if we all have finished reading.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and second that we will accept the minutes and put them on file for audit. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Okay, the minutes will be placed on file. Now we'll have our treasurer report by Mr. Mangrum.
No, okay. Let's see, you want me to just give the totals?
Just give us, do you have this was July's, do you have a report for this? Yes.
Oh.
Just give the current information, I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, just the totals of the deposits. Let me see
Yes, that'll be.
Total of the deposits. Have you received my email?
Yes, I think President Mack and I had received the email of the PDF of the July 2020 minutes just this morning. So I put them up on the screen for us on the share screen.
Okay.
Madam President, did everyone receive a copy of that July financial report?
I'm just receiving it, so, but it is on the screen.
Right. It was sent out earlier today.
Okay,
And based on that review, I move that the financial report be accepted as presented with any questions, if there be any.
I
Okay.
second Mr. Riley's motion. We did receive it earlier too, so I think it'd be appropriate to go forward.
okay. It's been moved and second that we will receive the financial report submitted by our treasurer. All those in favor, say aye.
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 There's no opposers. Okay. We'll go on down to our report of officers. Starting with our first vice president, Ms. Helen Wiley.
I don't have anything right now. Thank you.
Okay. Our second vice, Alan Lamberg.
I don't think I have anything to report other than what we'll discuss in the committees. Thank you.
Okay. And myself, I just wanted to go over a few things in reference to the defacing of the Martin Luther King Jr. and Emmett Till statue. I have been in contact with Mr. Ray Brown, who is the president of the MLK Holiday Commission. We sat down and talked in reference to the defacing. Both, as you would expect, we were both upset about it. The NAACP did put out a statement to the media after contacting Mr. Brown. And also we have been in contact with our local law enforcement, the DA's office, as well as the police department, where both Mr. Chostner and Mr. Davenport are taking this seriously and wanting to get all the information behind it. If it was just some juveniles just doing a prank, or if it's more in detail, they will follow up as they get information. The other thing was the participation in the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment strategy session and survey that was sent out by the state conference. They were encouraging us to participate. It'll be focused on the health disparities as it relates to African Americans and people of color. The sessions are going to be going on throughout this month in different regions. So they broke it up into regions of Colorado to get the feedback from everyone. So again, I will be forwarding that that email to everyone. And if you would like to chime on, please do so. There's a
I'm
link.
sorry. Would you repeat, what is it called?
It's from the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. It's a strategy session and survey as it relates to the health disparities.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Also received correspondence from our representative, Danae Escar, in reference to sending any questions or concerns that you would like her to address with the governor. She will be meeting with Governor Polis on the 11th, which is, I believe, Tuesday or this coming week, whatever the 11th is. And she was soliciting any concerns or questions or anything that you would like for her to take to the governor from Southern Colorado. The other issue I wanted to bring up was the input that we gave in reference to the Public Advisory Committee that's been proposed to organize by Councilman Affleff. He contacted me in reference to, well, I contacted him first in reference to the committee wanting to ensure that NAACP was represented on that committee. He indicated that it would be individuals rather than organizations being represented, but he wanted our feedback. So I gave him feedback on the proposal. It's pretty much exactly like Colorado Springs. They took the wording and the format exactly like what Colorado Springs just implemented, and they changed it to Pueblo. Our concerns were that we wanted to ensure that if not the NAACP, but a representative from our constituency would be on that committee. And I recommended Mr. Ron Wiley, who is very astute with all law enforcement leadership, will be a perfect individual to set on that committee. And another thing, we just wanted to make sure that it was going to be more than just forming a committee to pacify the community or say that he did something. We want to make sure this committee has some power or authority to do things when it's necessary. I have not heard back from him since we put those suggestions in, but we look forward to continuing communication with him. Oh, let's see. Also, we received an email from the Packard Fund of Pueblo, and they are launching a youth council, a youth action council, in collaboration with youth groups. And it looks like I would like Mr. Wiley is on the line. At some point, I would like for him to go into more detail, if he can, briefly, in reference to that.
Thank you. One of the arms of the Pueblo Packard Fund is to establish a youth council, both to get youth in tune with philanthropy, as well as decision making and teamwork and just youth development. Alan has put up the information that came with the flyer. As you can see, you can download the flyer as well as the application. There will be a committee to select the individuals for the council. And there are quite a few perks, as you can see. They get hours for their social service, as well as they receive a stipend. There's also a position available for a coordinator for the youth council. And I think they call it an administrator. You can also download the application from that same site. And Alan has it on the screen. So take an opportunity to read through it, and maybe something you're interested in, but it's certainly a bold endeavor to get youth involved in philanthropy and nonprofits and understanding what makes the world go round.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Wiley. And when I read that, I thought of our youth. Where am I? I thought of our youth portion of our branch, and I was hoping that maybe we could work in collaboration with that and getting some youth involved with our organization as well. Let's see, what else did I have? I think that's it for right now, and then I'll talk later. So we'll go on to report of committees. Report of committees. I know State Conference President Rosemary Lytle will be on the line, if she's not already on, and she will be giving some presentations. I did speak to her in reference to our support for injustices. We discussed a lot at the executive committee meeting in reference to the Columbus statue. And we don't want to just single out Columbus, but it's the injustices that were presented in all phases. There's many, many injustices that were that we fight against back then and still today. But that is one of those things that, as I indicated on Thursday, that falls under our mission. And we do, as an organization, support taking issue with the bus statues. We're in support of communities taking those down, as it is a reflection of past, but a hurtful past, and people still today have to live that. So as I talked to her, I indicated that we would be making a statement as far as the local branch is concerned, and our thoughts about that. Let's go on to our report subcommittee, and we'll start with Mr. Lambert with Communication, Press, and Publicity.
Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome.
Generally, I have no updates except that I just want to let the membership know that we have a new member, Elizabeth Robin. Lizzie, she set up a social media account for our branch on Instagram. So I would encourage you to visit Instagram. I think it's in case you haven't seen it from last month, it's Pueblo NAACP on Instagram. You can find it on the internet, and you can also, go on your smartphone and see it there. Lizzie has already posted some images to help us get started, and we're encouraging our executive committee members to also connect to that and be able to post at will. So just wanted to let you know that's a good tool to outreach, especially for younger people. They like to use that as well. She also set up a TikTok account for us as well, and we'll be looking at that in more detail later. As for the Columbus issue, at our executive committee meeting, our committee resolved to learn about the issues behind it, and that's what you may have saw on your screen a minute ago. So we set up a Google Doc that our executive committee can look at and to learn about the issues for and against the Columbus Monument, and members of our committee could maybe post to that and also just get the facts together. And that way, perhaps at our next executive committee, form a consensus opinion about that issue. And as everyone knows, I'm a city official, and I have to recluse myself from the opinion on that. But it's an important issue that needs to be looked at. And as many people know, that the city has hired a mediator to undergo mediations between the indigenous people of Pueblo and the Sons of Italy on that issue. So we'll be watching that as it unfolds.
Yeah, I believe the mediation started yesterday. I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing is education, which is me. I spoke with, well, this is in reference with Sister Poole had contacted me in reference to possibly getting a display, an African-American display at the public library. We are in communication with Nick, who is their community relations person, and we're working in collaboration with the El Pueblo History Museum. And recently I was able to talk with Mike Sturvanek, I believe is how he pronounces his name. He is the principal at Ron Colley STEM School. And we are working on a project to have more in-depth history for the students. So that is coming. We possibly will have a poster contest, essay contest, some things where we might be able to display what the students present at the El Pueblo Museum, or maybe even on a virtual platform since we're still in this pandemic. But that is in the works. And also, First Vice Helen Wiley and I we discussed supporting a few of the Title I elementary schools with supplies, sanitation supplies, rather than crayons and paper and things of that sort. A lot of teachers are more concerned about keeping the students and themselves safe. So we proposed that we would do that as a community project rather than buying backpacks and things of that sort. We will be reaching out to Walmart and Target and talking with the store managers to see if we can possibly purchase big bulk items as we present this proposal to them. And like I said, we'll be reaching out for input for the schools, but we do want to ensure that those schools that are really in need, some schools have more support and more monetary than others. So, and that is another issue that we spoke with the school superintendent in reference to ensuring that there's no disparity in the education, the supplies, the equipment, that every student will be given the necessary resources to learn. And I requested that the NAACP be placed on their community notification list for anything that they do as it relates to the community, that we would get a notification so that we can be involved and voice our opinion. I'm thinking that maybe we, a year or two ago, we were going to meetings, the school board meeting, the city council meeting, the county commissioner meeting. So I would suggest that, well, make a recommendation that we might start doing that again virtually, because all of those individuals, organizations are having virtual meetings just to stay up on what's going on in the community. But that's all I have for education. The next thing is legal redress. Is Mr. English on the line? No. Okay. Membership. Is Mr. Willie Hinton on the line?
Madam President, a point of information.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lundberg, are you following the chat?
Yes, I am. I just saw. Wait, oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. We got a message from Miss Regina Renee Ward. She said that she's the manager of the Reference and Readers Advisory Group at the library and has spoken with Nick Potter about working with us, and that she looks forward to becoming a member. Miss, is it okay if we yield the floor to Miss Ward on that note?
Yes, please.
I just wanted to introduce myself to the group. I manage the second floor, which is reference and readers advisory. So that department is going to be responsible for the displays and working with you as far as the list that you wanted to compile. So we've begun working on that. And so I just wanted to introduce myself. Margaret invited me. I had spoken with her. And so just happy to be here. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And what was your name, last name again, Regina?
Ward, W-A-R-D. First name is Regina Renee.
Okay.
And Regina, this is Marty Poole. I contacted the library about setting up what I had talked to Sister Roxanne about checking to see what books they had in there about Black history and biographies and everything. Anyway, I was able to get him connected with the library in Colorado Springs. He got the list of all the things that the Shivers Foundation, all the books that they have in their section of the library. And I talked to, I can't remember his name, the executive director of the library, and he was very excited about connecting. And he had said that I think that you had started working on something, and
yes,
that Nick Porter was able to get the list, a wonderful list of books. And so I'm happy that that's going on right now. So thanks a lot for your help.
Thank you. Yes, specifically what I was working on was making sure that we had all of the women authors that are listed in the Zora canon, which is published by Medium, and making sure that we had those 100 books written by Black women over the past years into our collection. So working specifically with the Zora canon, but yes, looking at Shivers, and here to help in any way that I can.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Ward. We will be contacting you. Should we just call the library and ask for you, and then that's the way we can get a hold of you?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks again. And then, and just for a moment, I just wanted to acknowledge, again, using the, for those who are watching the video now and in the future, just want to remind everyone, very important, that our meetings, our member meetings are available on YouTube. And I'll make sure that we can email this link in our minutes. But if you go to YouTube and search Pueblo NAACP, we can find us there. And also, I want to really emphasize that be sure to have in your email, put in your address book, NAACP4005@gmail.com. We use that from our communications. And also put in Madam Secretary Mangram's email address, mangramnaacp@msn.com. That way, when we send notifications of meetings and we're sharing things, that way it gets to you directly and it doesn't get into that spam folder. So please definitely add those two email addresses into your address book. Okay, so back to you, Madam President.
Okay, thank you, Alan. We were out of membership. Was Mr. Hinton on the line? No. Okay. Is Ms. Mangrum on the line in reference to?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Can you kind of go through the process of the membership once you pay fill out your form, everything that happens?
Sure.
Okay.
Once a person submit their membership form, send it via to our PO box in Pueblo. I compile all the names, addresses, etc. Our personal list, a branch list, and also I make a list, compile a list for the national, and I send the list up there monthly, with the payment. And then in maybe about a month or two, they send out the membership cards all to me. And then I, from that point, disperse them to the membership with the letter, welcome letter, and then an information letter informing them about the meeting. So it's important that everyone go through the branch, because if, that way I know who's a member, when they joined or whatnot. Because it's okay to go to the nationals too, to send your membership directly to a national office back in Maryland, but I don't receive that notification till maybe 2 or 3 months later. So there's no way I know that they joined through that process. Because national, they have a different method. They send out lists maybe every 6, 7 months, to the branches, alerting them of who joined through their office, through the main office. But in a nutshell, that's the process. Comes to us, I send a list of national, and you get on our local list, and then therefore you immediately receive information about meetings and other important information.
Great. And that lets us know why our membership list is not as current as it could be, because those people that are joining directly through the national, just going online, those individuals, we don't have their names. So that's one of the reasons why the list is not as complete as it could be. But I know the online process is a lot quicker. You are a member as soon as that goes through, as soon as you get off the, and Alan has it on the screen there now. But
Yes.
our preference is that you would send it to our post office box and let the secretary and the treasurer do the process that way. And then we, as the officers, would know the current membership list, or the current membership. Okay, thank you so much, Margaret.
Yeah.
Okay. There's nothing else. Let's see. The next thing is, the next committee is political action. Political action.
Well, let's make sure that we all help fulfill John Lewis's dream by encouraging your neighbors, your family and friends to make sure that they get out and vote. Ballots will be coming out, I think, about the second week of October. I don't have that date for sure. But then, of course, making sure that your census is in. And that's basically all I have for political action right now. This is an important year to make sure that you vote.
Exactly. I want to emphasize that. That the same as with what our national president says. This is very critical that we vote. This is a life and death situation. So we need to encourage. There's some campaigns going on about encouraging those people in your circle to ensure that they vote. If they need to get registered, there's some easy ways to get registered, and I'll may let Ruth discuss that, since she's president of the League of Women Voters. She'll have that information, but it's very, very important. And President Johnson put out this statement. He says, as we recognize the 55th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act, we are reminded that the right to vote has not come easy and was very hard. And it's imperative that we vote. We must demand a safe and fair election. Encourage your circle to vote. Okay, so it's very, very important. He is always emphasizing it's even more important to vote. Well, it goes in alignment with policy, but we have to get the right people in place to put the policy in place that affects us, that will be most beneficial to us. And also, Rita Martinez is our representative for the Census 2020 census. And they have started the NOC campaign, the NOC campaign. And it's a process that's going to be going through September the 30th. And as everyone knows, they cut the census short a month. But they're out knocking on doors of those that have not yet completed the census. And there's some easy, you can do it 3 ways, very easy to do. You can do it by completing and mailing back the paper questionnaire, or you can respond online at 2020census.gov, or you can call, and I have that phone number. And they do have it in 13 different languages. So it's very, very important that we, you know, let our folks know that the census, the 2020 census, as well as voting in November, is very important. I do want to give the floor to Ms. Ruth Nirenberg. They have some things going on, her organization, the League of Women Voters of Pueblo, and I'm going to let her just detail some of that, especially the live parade, virtual suffrage parade. Ruth, can you go over some of that information?
Yeah, sure. First of all, we will have Vote 411. We will be participating in that. It just gets stronger and better every year. Vote 411 allows you to see your ballot. You enter your address and you see your ballot, and you can compare the candidates side by side. We're going to put our ballot issues brochure up there, which will have even the local ballot initiatives on there, explained in simple English, with those in favor say and those opposed say. So you can do all your research on that one site right there. If you see on the screen sharing there, you just enter your address and boom, it pops your ballot. It's a really good tool for finding out and doing your research. And of course, you probably want to do other research too. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the women's suffrage group is having a drive-by parade at the Heritage Museum there across from Union Depot. And that's going to be on Saturday, the 22nd. The researchers for this group have come up with a couple of African-American women who were the first to register to vote. And so we're going to need some representatives from the African-American community to portray those. One was a teacher and one was a housekeeper, as I recall. So,
yeah.
You know, by all means, if you've got some acting skills, or if you just have a little costume and want to stand there and wave a sign or something, it could be fun. It's only going to be a half an hour or so, but it'll be fun, and you can wave at people and pretend to be somebody you're not. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, we're getting ready to talk about our ballot issues presentations. If you guys want to co-sponsor, if NAACP wants to co-sponsor with Lee, I'm sure we can work something out. Many hands make light work, but we'll stay in touch.
Okay. I appreciate that. I just sent that out to everyone. I said, I'm not an actor, but I would love to have, maybe I could just pretend, I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Also, this is Alan. I think Eric Javina wanted to share an item with us too. Oh, am I on mute? Let's see.
Yeah, here I am.
Okay, Eric, do you want to just go over that idea that you and Kathy had at our executive meeting about the another strategy for getting out the vote?
Right. Thank you, Alan. As we all know, the voting is the fundamental right and the most important right that we all have. A lot of people are not registered to vote, and if they are registered to vote, they don't vote. So there's a challenge out there that you contact 3 people within your inner circle or more. You can do a lot more if you want to, and see if they're registered to vote, family members, church, extended, friendships, etc. And if they aren't registered to vote, encourage them to register to vote. And then, more importantly, see if they did vote. After that.
3 to 5 people.
So we're trying to get 3 to 5 people, and so it's going to be basically, hopefully they'll get 3 to 5 people, and suddenly you have from one person you have 3, and you have 9, etc. You can do the math ideally, and that way you can protect our democracy. There's a variety of programs out there. I think this is a good one too, and I would encourage people to participate, and maybe let either Alan or Roxanne, Ms. Madam President, know how you're doing with that endeavor. Oh, and we just came up, what Kathy just showed me, is that right now parolees can vote in Colorado. So the laws are changing for the better, and more equity out there. And I think we should, if you don't vote, you can't complain. That's my opinion. Any questions?
And 16-year-olds can vote, can register anyway. They can't vote, but they can register.
Right. And if you turn 18 before the election or the day of the election, you can legally vote. Of course, once you register, when you become 18, you're automatically eligible, so you may not be able to participate this election, the next one. So at least we should get people able to participate at some point in the near future, ideally right now.
You want to talk about that QR code I sent you, Ellen?
There it is.
Oh, yeah, this is a QR code. You put that in your phone and touch it. You can be directed directly to the Secretary of State's office to register. There you go. That's it. And you click the link there. And a lot of young people are registering that way. The other thing I want to mention is Pueblo County already has a high rate of registered voters. However, after they register and they get the ballot in their hands, there's a lag time between the time that they get it in their hands and they actually get it in the mail or the ballot, the box, the secure box. So if you have relatives or friends that have a ballot, make sure after they get it, they actually put it in, they actually submit it. And that's the thing. We want to increase the amount of persons that are responding.
And let me add on to that you're allowed to deliver a certain amount of ballots on behalf of another person. Check with the Secretary of State as to the current amount you're allowed to pick up and then deliver. I would encourage people to drop them off at the voting receptacles at the registrar's office, other place, because what's going on with the mail right now is a little concerning. They may not get there in time. There might be some disputes, but if you drop it off at the appropriate boxes, the drop-off boxes, then they will be entered and registered, and those are very secure environments for delivery of your votes. Thank you. Hello?
You're good. Thank you very much.
Sorry, there was a lag time there.
That's okay. Thank you so much. Any back to you, Madam President.
Can you hear me? I lost all my stuff. I had to read. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. You're good. You're back.
Okay.
Yeah. We heard from Eric and Kathy about an idea, and earlier that we heard from Marty and Poole, and I know Ms. Ivestine White is on the line too, if she wanted to share anything about political action as well.
Okay.
Did Ms. Ivestine White want to share anything?
Just say no, you don't. No, I do not.
Okay. Okay. Let's go on to new business. Is that's where we're at, correct? Yeah. Is State President Lytle on the line? Your video has stopped. Hello?
I am.
Oh.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm going to try to manage problems that I've had by being innovative with my laptop and my phone, and let's see how it works. One of our national office leaders this week said the most used words right now are "you're on mute." So I'm going to try not to use those in any of my meetings. We're always going to be vocal, and our voices shall always be heard, and freedom fighters shall not be on mute unless we are. So good afternoon to everyone. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be with Madam President Mack, Mr. Chair Lamberg, and the leaders and members of the Pueblo branch. It is always a time for freedom fighting and protecting our rights. And so we continue to do our work, even in this moment, even in these tough political, scary medical, pandemic, all of the things that concern us. We're most concerned by civil rights and social justice. So it's always time to do our great work. We know as freedom fighters that those are the things at hand for us. No matter what comes, we continue to fight for rights and for equality of rights and to stand for democracy and civil rights. So Madam President has asked me to address several things, and I'll try to do that. If there is one that needs to be addressed that I don't address, please just remind me. And at the end of this not very long presentation, if there are questions, if you want to put them in the chat for Mr. Chair to relay, or if you want to ask them via your audio and video, I'm open to all of that. This is a time for asking questions, and I will try my best to answer them. And if I can't, I will get the answers for you. I'll speak up and say I don't know. Smart person always does that, or shall I say wise. We know that membership is power. We talked about memberships and the membership process. I just wanted to share with the Pueblo branch today. I've been sharing this with our organizing committees that are working now in Douglas County, Colorado, and Weld County, Colorado, and in Lewis and Clark County, Montana. Membership is power. The reason that I have this beautiful, big old, almost throwback medallion is because I made membership sales my business, the business of the Colorado Springs branch at the time, in 2005, 2006, and in 2007. And for those years, I sold more than 250 memberships per year, many of them life memberships. Membership really is power. When we sell life memberships, we know that we protect our compliance status with national, because life memberships never go away. And so our membership requirements are always strong. And in Colorado Springs, we made our work convincing people, encouraging people to get their life memberships as a way to show their love for civil rights and for the NAACP, as a way to get the big, beautiful plaques that come and the silver and gold membership cards, but also as a way to keep our unit strong. So in good times and bad, life members protect our units, because as long as you're living, and sometimes even when you're not, you are counted as a member of that branch. We are slow sometimes to drop people off even when they have passed away, but we want to only include living life members. So this medallion, the three of them that I treasure, are my kind of earthly rewards for those years of membership building, but we know that it's about more than perks. It's about doing the work of the NAACP. I want to share with you, and you can see this on our national website and register there. The virtual March on Washington is being organized in this COVID-19 environment by several organizations, being led by the NAACP. It will be August 27th and 28th. Please go on naacp.org, where you can, as you are seeing right now, sign up to get updates and sign up to participate. Again, our numbers matter. Many people registering helps all of the NAACP goals. So virtual March on Washington's, some of us had hoped to attend it in person. And particularly in this year in which we have lost our great leader, Congressman John Robert Lewis, it would be a wonderful time to be in actual attendance in Washington, D.C. We'll see whether or not we actually put our bodies in the place, but there's a way for all of us to participate. I shared in the chat previously when we were talking about voter registration and civic engagement, the website link for Black Voices Change Lives. This is our national civic engagement campaign. I think that our participation in this is critical. All of us can help turn out the vote no matter where we are. And our campaign is emphasizing those battleground states, those states that are going to be so important in terms of electing public officials, that these states, in terms of electing public officials that will help the NAACP promote civil rights and social justice. So we can sit in our homes and we can utilize the technology that we have available in our kitchens and dining rooms and our home offices, and we can impact this election. I love what was said about advocacy for our own circle, for our family members, members of clubs and organizations, people that are in our faith communities, friends and employees and co-workers. All of that we can do, but we can also do this. The way that I found out about Cori Bush, who was just I'm going to say it. I'm going to say she was elected, but she won her primary in Missouri, a history-making primary.
Yeah.
I found out about her because someone texted me, someone who I didn't know, who was working for Cori Bush, texted me and started telling me about her campaign. And so I became an online volunteer. And so I am so happy about helping to get her to the next level. And we know Missouri is typically a state that votes with the party to which she belongs. And so I'm almost I've already said, member of Congress already, but we want to participate in this Black Voices Change Lives campaign because our very lives depend on it. As President Mack said, and as President Derek Johnson said this week, our lives depend on it. People died for our right to vote. There's a beautiful yet heartbreaking meme that shows all of those, many of those. We don't know all of them, but shows many of those who died for our rights. I say vote as if your rights depend upon it, because in this time we know that our rights are increasingly being taken away, and no fight ever stays won. But we know that when we vote and we elect public officials, we can then hold them accountable for what they said they would do. So let's participate in those things. I also think that the person who talked about the drop boxes is brilliant. I had someone ask why they should even bother to vote when they feel that our mail system is being compromised. You don't even have to use that. So I can't wait to go back to him and tell him to just utilize that drop box that's outside of the DMV office, and you don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to get there. It's then there, and you don't have to worry about whether or not it will be compromised. We've always trusted highly secure. And so with that is an answer. Thank you so much for providing it. We know that our national annual convention is approaching. This is the first time in its 111-year history that the NAACP will have a virtual convention. The brilliant minds in our national office are figuring it out, and I'm so excited to announce those dates. They have been slightly changed, as I think we know. September 13th through the 26th are the dates of our annual convention. It is free and open to everyone in all of the public-facing events. Just as if you went to Detroit and you weren't even registered, any meeting that is called a public meeting, you could attend. You wouldn't have to be a delegate. All of the workshops, no one's going to stop you at the door, even if you don't have on a badge. This time, no one needs a badge for those public-facing events that we see here. I've already been attending the Arts and Entertainment Festival events, and they have been amazing. So I'm really looking forward to our annual convention. For those who have been elected as delegates, for those who have been elected as delegates from this branch, your responsibility in serving is during the legislative sessions, and that's where we adopt our policy known as resolutions, and also to serve during the regional meeting. So this branch is a member of Midwest Region 4. Midwest Region 4 is humbly chaired by yours truly. This is my second time chairing the region. It's a job that I don't know if I will say I welcome it, but it's part of my labor in the labor of love. But this year, during that meeting, I will turn over the gavel to the next state conference representative who will be elected, and you will participate as delegates in that meeting, September 24th at 7:30 p.m. September 24th at 7:30 p.m. The youth meeting for Region 4 will be at 6 p.m. on September 24th. So our youth will meet, and adults, as it's called, will meet. Typically, I try to go to both. I go to both just to represent and to support our youth. So I encourage delegates to attend both meetings if that, I have to think about whether or not that's possible in the new system. I think it is. So the secretary, once the delegates are registered, will pay, and the branch will pay, and then we will receive the unique links for those meetings. Some of us in those meetings will be elected to serve on regional committees. Those regional committees, if we go back up in the slide that's showing right now, are the Resolutions Committee, which in times when there is not a pandemic, the Resolutions Committee members meet together, national page, for all of your expenses to meet and consider the resolutions that are presented by all of our branches. That is a very highly sought after committee position. Also, the Election Supervisory Committee. This is a board member election year, and so Election Supervisory Committee is very important. We will also elect from our own region delegates who will serve on the on the Credentials Committee, which determines whether or not people have the ability to vote and who's voting, and it becomes a very interesting atmosphere. I've served on Credentials in the past, as well as on Time and Place. Time and Place being a very important committee because it sets the location, the time, place, and date when there's not a pandemic of the next convention. And the members of that committee are, just like any important committee, are courted, if you will, by locations that want to attract the convention to their area. So if you're elected to that committee, you're almost assured to get a gift box from somebody the next morning in a regular environment at your hotel room. So those are the committees that we will elect during our regional meeting, as well as sending forward one name to serve for Midwest Region 4 on the National Board of Directors. So very important that we be represented well. And this time we don't have to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, not get up at 5 so
Yeah,
that you can be there at 8. So it has, all of this is different. So there should be no reason that any delegate should miss the meeting on the 24th. I'll take your questions about that after we are done with the presentation. So unless you want to put them now in the chat. I also want to bring to your attention, if you're not aware of it, I think most of us are, NAACP National Office has sued Betsy DeVos in the U.S. Department of Education over school closings. One school district that out of the 3 that joined in that lawsuit that's being led by our friend, Attorney Victor Good, Interim Education Director at the National NAACP. One school district that joined is the Denver Public Schools. So we have a unique stake in that lawsuit and in school reopenings in this area. So we can pay attention to that through the emails that come to us from President Johnson in our national office. If you have any questions about it, about school closings generally, happy to put you in touch with Attorney Victor Good. Unlike some national, well, I will say this, as a national staff member, he makes himself available to this state conference simply by request. So if there's something that we want from him, his attendance, a presentation, he and I joined together to be on a call about Black children and school reopenings with the National Association of Black Psychologists, and people from Colorado and Ohio were both represented. I had not been on a call where people, a non-NAACP call where people so fiercely loved the NAACP in a long time. He said the same thing, so it did our hearts good. If we want particular information on the lawsuits or on school reopenings, just let me know, and I'm happy to connect the branch to both our state education chair and to our interim national education director. I also want to talk just very briefly about your local discussions around the Columbus statue and what the NAACP's position is on such things. We know that generally we oppose monuments to oppression, and we have a 2017 national resolution that, while it does not talk about Columbus, talks about Confederate flags and statues. So that we know that Klansmen, neo-Nazis, and white nationalists defend these monuments as an innocent representation of American heritage. But we know these statues and etc. to be just what they are. They're symbols that glorify treason, and they're hateful reminders of the history of white supremacy and the oppression of Black people. And so the NAACP voted several years ago, 2017, that we would work to remove Confederate symbols from parks, from schools, from streets, from counties, from military bases, and from anywhere that defines America's landscape and culture. I do know that there will be a revision of this resolution that will come before delegates during this convention, simply because of all of the activity around removing these oppressive monuments. And we want to make sure that we name them all so that people have that information so that they can then take that back after convention and do work in their local units. I'm proud that the NAACP State Conference worked for several years to convince the Stapleton community that it should change its name from one that represented a Klans person to one that would be more reflective of community. And I'm sure you know that, and for those who don't, that name was finally changed after all of these years to Central Park. I think that the community is important in Denver, and I think the work that the NAACP did there will help to move such efforts forward around the country. So I definitely wanted to lift that as well. We know that branch elections are approaching, and this will be a different year in which to have branch elections, but we will, of course, have them nonetheless. We have faith in our elections process and in our national, state, and local leaders to carry this out. So I want you to know that they should happen on our regular September, October, November schedule, with the actual branch election happening in November. And this is a statement from our acting regional director, Kevin Miles. And this has been shared with state presidents around the country. Virtual elections are recommended and have been authorized by the National Board of Directors. Our national field team, led by Carmen Watkins, Vice President for Field, is reviewing several different computer-based election options, and they will present all units with a number of options from which to choose. We have always had the opportunity to use polling machines and et cetera in our elections, but in our states, we typically haven't done that because we haven't had the numbers that would justify the cost. But other units have utilized election machinery successfully in the past. I think of Detroit, I think of New York City, I think of Boston, areas where I think of Philadelphia, places where there are thousands and thousands of NAACPers voting in elections. The options that we will receive for virtual elections, we have asked what the cost will be to units and whether or not national will assist in mitigating those costs. And we've been assured that there will be several options depending on the size of units. One might be more acceptable than another, but you will be able to choose from the options and choose the one that's best for you. I know that the national team, including Field, is concentrating on the annual convention right now. We should follow our guidance from the bylaws and constitution, which says that our first notice around election goes out in September, that we notify our membership and et cetera. I think that I know that we will have information to insert in those notices before the required date. I also know that we have to be patient and wait until some of the planning of our convention has been accomplished. I believe that by the end of this month, and it'll be close to the end of this month, just being realistic with all that is before us. But by the end of this month, you will have the virtual options from which to choose. There will be an all-unit call after, in the next 2 weeks, I believe. There was one recently, and there were 900 and some people on the call. And it was an update around convention mostly and around civic engagement, but we will have another soon that will be focused on branch elections. So, Madam Secretary, please be aware that that's coming. And as soon as I receive anything, I will share it with you. I appreciate your patience with all levels of NAACP as we work through things that we just frankly have never done before. We also, I don't want to miss just lifting for you briefly the state conference participation and the Colorado Department of Public Health Tobacco and Health Disparities Study. The secretary, president, and chair have received links to that, and I hope that we will share that with everyone. Perhaps, Mr. Lamberg, if you have ready access to that link, you might put it in the chat. Participating is important because without good health, as we know in this environment, we cannot do this work. Without good health, we can do very little. They really want to hear from those who are familiar with communities of color and who are living the health realities of communities of color. Each branch that participates in the survey will receive a stipend from the state conference. That's not the reason that I'm asking you to participate. That's just like the icing. Not even a good analogy when we're talking about health, I know. But that's just something to assist us as we do our health-related work. We want to participate because it's good for us. The survey is long. It is a 90-question survey, but you can skip through and only address the parts that you think you have unique knowledge of. And you'll see that as you log on. There are also some virtual discussion groups where rather than putting all of this into the survey, there will be dialogue with others from around the state on these same health issues. And you can sign up for one of those if you utilize the link as well. Okay.
I'll be sending that to everyone. That's what I was referencing earlier in the meeting.
Thank you so much. We really want to have good showing on that. And I want to just very briefly, was asked by your president, just very briefly to talk about and present on unit leadership, or as we call it, building effective units. Let's see whether or not I can share this PowerPoint. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if we can share this. Well, let us see.
There's something there.
Let's see if that's gonna work. I think we're there. Very good. Okay, so building effective units is what I typically call building unit leadership. We're all leaders at this level. When we agitate, when we educate, when we organize and we mobilize, we know that we are doing the work that keeps our units strong. And we say that our NAACP units must be so strong in numbers, therein again, membership. Membership is important because it's more than power. It's everything. But we should be so strong in numbers and so effective in our methods, and we know those come from national, that no one, no mayor of any city, no governor of any state, no congressperson of any party, no president of the United States, shall I say it again? No president of the United States and no foreign ambassador will dare to commit an indignity against people of color without realizing the NAACP will challenge them on the platform, in the press, in the courts, in the streets, and I think most importantly, at the ballot box. We know that we have a mission and vision that are clearly articulated. The mission of the NAACP is to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights of all persons and to eliminate race-based discrimination wherever it exists, wherever it exists. And so we know that our vision is a society in which all people have equal rights without discrimination based on race. Okay. Our policy documents, we talked about policy is set by resolution, but our policy documents are the Constitution that governs our board of directors. Bylaws for units that governs all of our units. Our state and state area conference and state and state area conference youth and college guidelines. We do have a constitution and bylaws that mirror our national. By our unit election manuals, we know that those documents exist on the national NAACP.org resources page. One of those is a document that governs unit elections. We're guided by our resolutions and by our resolutions process. That is the policy that we put forward every year and bring back to our units to do work, boots on the ground, and the bookkeeping guide, which is how we organize and track and are true to our financial policies in NAACP. Okay. Let's see. I think we all know the structure of the NAACP, but it does bear repeating in some ways. This is a way to visualize it. I hope that these slides are advancing because, are they advancing?
Yes, they are, Madam President.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. We are governed by our national board of directors. By our national board of directors, like other nonprofits and similar organizations, are at the top, if you will, of our organizational structure, followed by our national office, followed by our regional offices. We don't have an office any longer in Midwest Region 4. We are the only region that does not have a regional office and its own regional director. And that is purely, as we have been told by President Johnson, because of our lack of members. We are the smallest and we are the least resourced. I might do it a different way. I continue to advocate for a permanent regional director for this region and for the reestablishment of our regional office, and I will continue to do that until we see it happen. I will also continue to try to create funding for it to happen. And we have done some fundraising, some corporate fundraising through our regional leadership structure to reestablish our regional office. It's not enough. Without members, we will suffer, I believe, from having a regional office. Our state and state area conferences, we're a state area conference, I guess because they didn't know what to do with Montana and Wyoming. But we are one nonetheless, and we are still organizing and empowering our units and members in those places. Our boots on the ground, not that you're at the bottom, not that we're at the bottom, we're all a member of a branch or a unit. Every member of the board of directors is a member of a branch or a unit. And that means that those are our real leaders. And we are the real leadership. We do the work of civil rights and social justice. And one of the things that I'm always encouraged by is the recognition from our national board of directors that that is true. We can move through. How we do our work, I think, is very is an important slide. If I could actually get our PowerPoint to go there. Okay. How we do our work. I don't, okay, there we are. We've got a little lag here. I'm not sure why that is. Okay. Just one moment, please. How we do our work, I believe, is one of the more important slides. We are captured in our work, the methods that we use, captured in the bylaws for units. We do our work through litigation. We know that when we're going to sue someone, we need permission of the general counsel in our national office. When the NAACP State Conference joined in the suit against the Colorado Oil and Gas Commission 2 years ago because of the fracking that existed at Bella Romero Elementary School in Greeley, Colorado, we were approved by the general counsel's office to go forward. 2 years of litigation, we were not successful in our lawsuit. The oil and gas permits were granted, and fracking is still occurring at Bella Romero Elementary School, where the majority population is Somali refugee, African American, and Latino. So those things are going on, but we also have going on the organizing of a new NAACP unit. And I think that is a tangible thing that grew out of our lawsuit. So with prior approval, we can conduct litigation. We can do direct action with prior approval. Why is prior approval important? Because one, if we function as that triangle that we saw, if you kick one of the blocks out of it, or fracture it in any way, or maybe cover it up, you no longer have the organizational structure that's laid out in our Constitution. We want to inform our state conference and national office of everything that we do, not because we just have to inform them and get permission, but because with that comes resources like our approval and support, publicity, and most importantly, I think, insurance for our actions. Just as when you had your Juneteenth rally during a pandemic, you are also insured. It wasn't easy to get it approved quickly in a pandemic, but they made it happen, and so did we. So direct action and legislation, such as the kind that we work on constantly in our communities, whether we're doing work like the new plastic bag tax in Colorado Springs and ensuring that communities of color are not left out of those discussions. That's legislative work, whether it's something like Colorado SB 217, which made policing and police accountability and ending qualified immunity the order of the day in Colorado. Or whether it is working with our national office in the way of other legislation. Oh, now our laptop is moving along. That is so good. And the work that, of course, we do in supporting our Washington Bureau and our friend Hillary Shelton, the Senior Vice President of our Washington Legislative Bureau. We also do our work, of course, in coalition and partnership with other organizations, those that are like-minded, like the ACLU, like the League of Women Voters that's on this call, like Black Lives Matter. We still have a process when we're joining informal partnership and establishing MOUs of approval from national office. So that is how we do our work. And we know, and you know better than most, that the work we do is our game changer work. And I know that you have been exploring how you can best do that work. I want to stop now and ask whether or not there are questions. I know there was a little bit covered there, and I hope this is what we want. If there's something that we want added now, or if there are questions about what has already been presented.
Madam President, I have a question. This is Alan Lambert. I've noticed that on the NAACP website that there's two PDFs. One is known as a handbook for advocacy. I'm just going to briefly share that screen just for a moment here, just what I'm observing. There's this handbook for advocacy that was published in 2016, and it has a map of the regions, which I think is helpful so we can expand our understanding of our Region 4, how it goes from Colorado to Missouri to Minnesota to Montana. But that handbook it has a lot of useful educational materials, and I was wondering, even though it was published 10 years ago, if it's useful as a general tool for those who want to learn about our organization. Is that handbook still in good standing?
That handbook is still in good standing. I know that is being updated by our field office now, but I don't think there's anything in there that we can't use. Some of it might be time driven. I don't remember every word in it, although at one point I did training for the region on it. So it's still in good standing. It's one of the documents that I'm actually proudest of. So
great.
Thank you for even knowing that it exists.
And
but there will be a new version that will come out after convention, probably sometime around the beginning of the year. And this state conference will certainly have probably duty of editing the draft document. I just thought of that. I think we're going to do that in this state conference.
And similar
but that is a document that, yes, we can use as we work with our committees and our committee chairs, especially on how we do our work. And I think we can use it. It's more of an internal document than an external.
Okay. And similar question, I also found advisor's manual. I think this was originally published for adult advisors who help youth chapters and youth councils. That's also on the field research or field resources guide. And I presume this is for helping with the youth and college division. And I presume this is still in good standing too.
Yes. And we know that every unit in good standing has a youth council. Every branch in good standing has a youth council, and every state conference in good standing has a youth and college division. That's been one of the harder, more difficult pieces for us to figure out in the state area conference paradigm, but we still have youth. And even when we don't have the viable number of youth, we should have someone who's functioning as our advisor, so that when youth are present, they have someone who know all of the national youth policies and the programs, and are sharing and guiding them to participate in those. And we can always build our youth units by getting memberships for our children and grandchildren. I'm so delighted that Sydney Rose Dances has a membership that says Subscribing Junior Life, and she is not yet 2 years old. So we can support NAACP by introducing our children and grandchildren by way of membership, and then getting them involved as appropriate in youth councils.
Great.
Good questions.
Thank you, Madam President.
Yes.
We may be able to use those scholarships in reference to that. Just getting started. I know we've set out to have 50 free one-year scholarships, and maybe we can expand that to the memberships, the children in our circle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They should benefit from it as well. Yeah. So that's one way for us to help ourselves.
Great. Okay. Was there any other questions for the state conference president? If not, I think and I do want to thank the state conference president Lytle for being on our meeting and addressing those issues. I called her last minute, but she always comes through, and I appreciate all the information and her advice to keep our branch on target. So again, thank you so much, President Lytle.
Absolutely. I'm always here to support this branch. Pueblo is near and dear to my heart. I don't know what you all did, but it was something a long time ago. But you have a friend in this state conference president.
No, I really appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, we'll go on and continue. I believe we're down to just announcements. Is that correct, Alan?
I think so. I'm sorry. Community. Oh, there was actually two items. New business number D, community project, donation of supplies to help sanitize.
We already discussed that.
Okay, and about compiling list of Black-owned businesses in Pueblo in support of those businesses.
Yes, I was just gonna reference that. We discussed that at the executive committee meeting. I believe someone brought that up, so we were gonna look into that to ensure that we compile a list. And now we'll just have, if Margaret, there's the announcements. Margaret had an announcement in reference to healing service. I believe Kathy and Eric's already taken care of the voting strategy announcement. We've already taken care of the suffrage parade. Then, so after Margaret, we'll have Mr. Jones do his announcement, and I think we will be finished.
Okay.
Okay, this is Margaret Mangrum, acting secretary. Just a quick note, someone sent us a $25 donation in memory of Congressman John Lewis, freedom fighter and superhero. It was Nick and Teresa Chavez. And my announcement regarding the statue, another party, they sent us $100 in regard to the Emmett Till MLK statue being defaced. Douglas and Diane Messner, they sent $100. But in regards to the statue, the location on August 15th, next Saturday at 9 a.m., the Friendly Harbor, the current owners of the Lincoln Home Orphanage, and the location of the statue, 28th and Grand Street, they're having a healing service just to, I guess, get past that event, with the discarding of the statue. The board of directors, Patrick Hurley, contacted me, and he said he would like the NAACP to, make a brief statement or short speech. They're going to have a few people there, but their objective is just to get past this ugly event that occurred, and just move forward. That's why they're calling it a healing event. So I just want to announce that next Saturday, 9 a.m., 28th and Grand, North Grand, the Friendly Harbor, a location of the MLK statue.
Okay. That's next Saturday at 9 a.m. at the Friendly Harbor. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And if you could send me that, just so I can contact him.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Mark. The next announcement is coming, Mr. Jones, I believe.
Yes, the Feeding the 5,000 direct program drive will not be held this year. However, people can make the donations, and there will be churches that are invited, but individuals can make donations directly to the Cooperative Care Center at 326 West 8th Street. They can make the food and monetary donations there. And then if they have any questions, they can contact the Cooperative Care Center. So that's the announcement I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jones. Okay, I think that's all. We have gone through our agenda for this month's meeting. Is there anything else that we need to discuss? Is there anything else that we need to discuss?
Madam President, Ron Wiley.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to thank your chair of the executive committee, Mr. Lambert, for doing an outstanding job of facilitating a meeting, as well as keeping us informed via the screen as well as the chat room. His ability allows us to flow smoothly and be informed with everything that's going on. So again, I said thank you, Mr. Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Wiley. I appreciate your support.
This is Eric, Eric Javino. I join in congratulating Alan. Just want to quickly mention the city of Pueblo is always hiring individuals. Right now they have a opening for a police patrol officer. Also, I think an engineer, one of the departments. So please keep, look at the city website as far as opportunities, or, you can refer other people to it. I think it's a good tool to advance minorities and just for, give somebody a career. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I sent out the email reference to the recruit for the police officers. It'll be out until September the 13th. That position closes on September 13th. So if you know anybody, just share it. Just share it in general. Maybe somebody will see it. If we want a diverse police force, we have to get folks in to apply for those positions. And again, I do also want to tip my hat to Alan. He's very patient in teaching, but he does an outstanding job. And I want him to know that I appreciate everything that he does for our branch also.
Thank you, Madam President. I also wanted to thank State Conference Madam President Rosemary Lytle for her excellent presentation. And since we're recording this, we'll be able to promote that presentation to anyone who needs education about our branch process and the national process. Also wanted to just, again, encourage, going back to the issue of voting, just here in Pueblo, you go to the county elections department at 720 North Main Street, you can drop off your ballot. Just drive along Main Street and see that building to the right. There's a little driveway. You go down that driveway and then hang a left. There's a little mailbox right around that corner. That's how you drop your ballot.
There's several drop boxes throughout Pueblo.
Okay.
There's one up on the campus. So maybe we can share, we'll find out where the drop boxes are and we can share that with our community folks. But I do want to thank everyone that joined the meeting this month. We do appreciate you. We hope that if you're not a member, that you become a member and become an active participant in the work that we do here in Pueblo. Again, thank everyone. And I will make a motion that we adjourn this meeting with a prayer, and we'll let you get on with your day. Mr. Jones, can you close us out with a prayer, please?
Yes, I will. Once again, thank you, Almighty God, for the guidance and for your favor upon us as we have had this meeting. We pray that your spirit would be continuing to be with us as we do that which is necessary as we leave our meeting time. We ask that those who were not with us would be blessed, and that perhaps the next meeting time they would be able to be with us. Now we give you thanks again and ask that your presence continue to guide us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Good night. Good. See you later, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yes, everybody stay healthy.
Thank you all. Bye.